Thank you for joining us on KREM 2 News at 6 o'clock. I'm Tom Sherry.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Whitney Ward. We begin tonight at 6 as Governor Jay Inslee just wrapped up his tour of the Spokane Arena mass vaccination site. His visit comes just a few hours after he eased up on restrictions on how counties are going to be evaluated for the state's reopening plan.
So we're going to get to those changes and what they'll look like for eastern Washington counties. But first, our Amanda Rowley is now at the arena where she just spoke with the governor about his visit and those new reopening phase guidelines. So Amanda, what did he have to say today?
Well, Governor Jay Inslee, after his tour through Spokane's mass vaccination site, says he is pretty impressed with operations here. In fact, he applauded the volunteers and National Guardsmen all here helping vaccinate the greater Spokane community. Take a look at his tour through the arena here this afternoon. Following his tour, he was happy to learn actually that hours here will be extended to 8 p.m. 2 days a week. And he says this will really help expand access to the vaccine.
This is very important because we want to make sure working people can get this vaccination if you have trouble getting time off from work. So that means people are going to be working later. I want to thank their families for letting them get home later at night. Those families are part of this team as well.
And we also talked to Spokane Mayor Nadine Woodward about Governor Inslee's visit here today. She says this is his second visit to Spokane in the last month, and each time he has come to Spokane and seen success in reopening and doing that safely.
Is there any takeaway that you had hoped the governor had from this tour today and that you thought may have been well received?
You know what's so great is this is the second time he's been here in just a few weeks now. He came here to see how our schools were doing successfully with in-person learning and kids returning to the classroom. And when we were with him at Stevens Elementary School on the city's north side, for him to see that teachers wanted to be back in the classroom, that the kids wanted to be back in the classroom, and that is the recipe for success. And now he's here again to see another Spokane success story, and that's our mass vaccination site. And more of our providers coming online, offering vaccines to people. That's the only way we're going to get on the other side of this health pandemic, is get more people vaccinated.
Now, Mayor Woodward also told me she is thankful that Governor Inslee made the decision to change and loosen the criteria for counties to remain in phase 3. Now, Governor Inslee wrapped up his tour here in Spokane today with a visit to Second Harvest. Reporting from the Spokane Arena, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Amanda, thank you very much. And as she just mentioned, Governor Inslee did loosen the criteria for Washington counties to stay in phase 3. So now the only way to move backwards in a phase would be if a county fails both metrics, that is COVID case counts and hospitalizations. If a county is failing one of the two metrics, they can still remain in their current phase. Before Inslee's change today, counties needed to meet both of those metrics to remain in the same phase. Now it just gives those counties a little more of a chance to stay where they are instead of move backwards. So let's take a look. Right now, all counties are technically in phase 3, but there are several counties at risk of moving back to phase 2. So as you can see on the map, those in green are meeting the requirements. The counties in red are not, and we will know officially on Monday if any of those counties do have to move back a phase. In the meantime, there are more concerns tonight over the Johnson & Johnson vaccine as the Biden administration pushes to get as many people vaccinated as possible. Georgia has now become the second state after North Carolina to pause use of that single-shot dose vaccine. The CDC says it's aware of several incidents of dizziness and other reactions in Iowa, Colorado, Georgia, and North Carolina. But it doesn't blame any particular vaccine maker. This comes as Johnson & Johnson is now struggling to deliver supplies. The CDC and Health and Human Services say just 700,000 doses will be distributed to states next week, which is an 86% drop from the number of doses currently available. Because of a mix-up at a plant in Baltimore, 15 million doses of the vaccine had to be destroyed. All right, let's turn our attention now to Tom Sherry and the weather, because while the sunshine was beautiful today, and I certainly think a lot of people are out enjoying it tonight, they need to be ready for really tomorrow especially, right?
Yeah, you're not going to love your start to Saturday. I'm so sorry about that. And you're right. Beautiful out there right now. It is a bit on the windy side. You can see the temperature here on the South Hill is at 53 degrees. We look for actually a chance of snow showers early tomorrow morning, especially in North Idaho. And then we'll look for sunshine, and it'll be a really cool, windy day on Saturday. Then Sunday will be much nicer, sunny and low 50s. And then I've got sunshine and temperatures in the 60s, maybe even upper 60s by the end of next week. So it's 53 right now. I talked about that wind, 21-mile-per-hour winds out of the southwest, as you can see right there. Still a little bit of rain that's occurring up along the in northeastern Washington and into northern Idaho, right along the Canadian border. We're not even going to get out of the 40s tomorrow. 47 the high. That snow should not stick. It will just be passing snow showers. But over North Idaho, again, you got a better chance of seeing more of it. And then we'll look for a high of 52 on Sunday after a very cold morning low of 26. I'll check my 10-day forecast, which looks great, coming up in a few minutes. Whitney?
Looking forward to that, Tom. Thank you. The Coeur d'Alene School District says the board will now be reevaluating the mask requirement after some pushback from parents. Although they say the board has been debating this decision for months, protesters took to Lake City High School to make a statement. Those students were encouraged to walk out of class over school requirements to wear a mask, despite mandates in the county being lifted. Our Morgan Trow heard from some students, though, who say this protest may have been well-intentioned, but not necessarily well executed.
Whitney, Tom, about 50 community members protested the mask requirement outside Lake City High School today. Their spokesperson told me that he understands why people are upset, but wants to assure that changes may be happening sooner than we think.
High schoolers were finishing up their first class of the day when they looked outside to see protesters waving signs criticizing the Coeur d'Alene School District mask requirement.
It's not just going to change overnight by one protest.
Ava Johnson and her friends Maya Deuce and Wyatt Johnson are freshmen at Lake City High School. Their entire high school experience has been in and out of masks.
It's not even that bad anymore.
I feel like protesting to the teachers and out at school doesn't do anything. It just, because the teachers are just caught in the middle of it, and it's really unfair to them.
None of them attended the anti-mask protest. Actually, almost no students went. So if the students didn't go, who did?
Well, I'm here. I just read about this morning at breakfast.
Around 50 people protested. The majority were like Terry Schweitzer, community members with seemingly no tie to the school, and parents, some even bringing their toddlers. The Panhandle Health District rescinded their mask mandate at the end of March, but the Coeur d'Alene School District's rule is still in place. Protesters argue that the schools shouldn't be forcing their kids to wear masks when the health district isn't making anyone. The school district has been going back and forth on the requirement, but masks are still the main topic for their board meeting next week.
I think if we were to protest, we should go to the school board. Protesting the teachers doesn't do much.
School district spokesperson Scott Mabin argues that the school just got back from spring break, and with traveling comes an increase in positive COVID-19 cases. So wearing masks could help mitigate that spread.
We're taking SAT exams, they've got AP exams, we've got the prom coming up. We don't want to see any students have to miss school or any of those spring events due to a quarantine.
The three students say they don't care or mind having to wear a mask, but if they had the choice, they would choose not to.
It's a habit. It's like I bring it everywhere with me.
They add it doesn't restrict them from doing work or just breathing, like the protesters allege.
The board meeting is scheduled for April 19th. That's when they'll be deciding if they want to keep the masks, eliminate them immediately, or start phasing them out. Reporting at Lake City, Morgan Trow, KREM 2 News.
Well, Boeing is telling some airlines now to stop flying its 737 MAX jets. This after finding a new issue, this time with the electrical system. Boeing is now working with the FAA to address it. Southwest Airlines pulled 30 jets from service. American has grounded 17 planes. Of course, this is just the latest problem for Boeing's MAX planes. They were grounded for nearly 2 years following a pair of crashes that killed more than 350 people. The FAA lifted the order last November after Boeing fixed the flight control system.
Well, remember this bus crash from just a few years ago? It was a charter bus that was carrying members of the UDub band to the Apple Cup here in Spokane, and they crashed during a snowstorm. In all, 45 people were hurt. A jury just decided to pay 4 of those injured students a total of $1.5 million. All 4 of them still have serious injuries and suffer from PTSD. The investigation found the bus driver was going too fast for dangerous conditions. A union vote for Amazon workers failed in Alabama today, but now some are blaming Amazon for swaying the vote. We've got more details on this right after the break.